Welcome back. I'm Dr. Jen Verboni, better known as Doc Jen Fit, and I have my bestie Moshkan here who's going to show us and demonstrate some of these exercises. We're going to do 5 different exercises that really help to address elbow pain. And I swear, anytime I start to feel any kind of stuff coming up, any increased sensations around my elbow, I do these 5 exercises and it feels so much better. So this is going to be really crucial, whether anywhere around the elbow, a lot of these can really help. So the first exercise that really helps to start to activate these forearm flexors, and at the same time, we're improving our wrist mobility. We don't realize how often our wrist is connected to what's happening at our elbow. I mean, all of our muscles that extend down into our fingers, they all come from our elbows. So every time I move or I flex, you can see how your muscles change right around your elbows. So whether I'm extending up or I'm flexing down, my muscles are activating right around my elbow. So I want to make sure that I'm working all the way from my fingers, my wrists, and all the way up to my elbow. So that's why we're starting with what's called wrist presses. So Mo's going to come forward here, and you want to lean into your wrists to what you can tolerate. So she has really good mobility, so don't judge yourself, okay? This is where she's starting from. Now, she also has hypermobility, so it's really easy for her, if she's going to do these presses, to kind of lean into those fingers. So show a wrist press and kind of going into your fingers. Yeah. And she can get a lot of range of motion here, which is what we don't want. Okay. So you want to actually grip the ground as if you're kind of gripping around something, and you're going to use your body weight to assist you here. Okay. So the muscles around, so grip into the ground, bend these. There we go. And then nice and slow into that full range of motion, into that wrist, and then back out, and then slow into that full range of motion. So every time, we're just going to do 5 here. Make sure that you return to that full range of motion in that wrist. We're going to stretch those forearms, and then we work those forearms, trying to keep that pressure into the ground. A little harder if you do have nails. Moshkan has some nails, so that's why it's a little harder for her to maintain. And then pressing. So just 5 of those. Great. Then we're going to come into some exercises with a little dumbbell. So we're only going to use a 3-pound weight. You definitely don't need anything heavy. And we're actually going to move a bench in so that we have some forearm support as well. So the first one, we're going to really focus on wrist pronation. So turning that hand down, and supination, putting that arm up. Sometimes we think of just the elbow doing up and down, but we have bones that help to rotate all the way down through the wrist. So that's what we're going to start with. So because we don't have like a long stick that you usually have in physical therapy, I want to give it something that's more accessible, that people would have more access to, which is a really small weight. And you're just going to hold the edge of the weight within your hand. So great. She's going to grip that right around, coming up. She's going to be supported from this bench here. And then nice and slow, she's going to go into either supination or pronation. Which way do you want to go? All right. She's going down into pronation really slowly, as much range as she has. And then she's going to come right back up and then rotate out. And all you need to do, we're just going to do 3 here. I would traditionally say, let's do at least 5 on each side. Okay. And these are exercises you don't have to do on a daily basis, but maybe something you want to come back to at least 2 to 3 times per week, depending on how severe your pain is as well. So again, we're focusing on going your full range of motion. So it might not be as low as hers is. Again, she is naturally a little bit more hypermobile, so she's going to have a little bit more range than most people. But the goal here is that you're going slow and that you're going controlled. If this is too much, you can always shorten the grip here just a little bit more and then go into that range of motion. Okay. So the more that we have the weight kind of sticking out, the harder that it is, because that's more leverage that you have to kind of control forward and backwards. And then we're going to go into finger curl ups and wrist curl ups. So she's going to allow this weight to kind of come all the way down toward her fingers, all the way down. And then she rolls her fingers up, and then she's going to go into a big wrist flexion, and then nice and slow on the way down. All of these, we want to control both down and up on the way. We're just going to do about 3 of them again, but at least 5 to 8 on your own would be a really great practice on each side. Okay. Or depending on the side that you're having a lot of pain issues. And we're now just starting to work the front of that forearm. Then she can flip it over. And then we're going to do wrist extension. Okay. So again, keeping that forearm supported, she's just going to come up as high as she can, working those muscles that come in to the outside of that elbow. And then just coming up nice and slow on the way down. And you can, if a weight is even too much for you right now, you can use something like a resistance band. So we have some different size resistance bands in the Optimal Body Therapy Kit. We have that link down below in the description. But this is a way where you could hold the band underneath your knee and then come up and still do all of these exercises. Okay. Even for pronation, supination that we started with, you can hold the band out on one side and be kind of going one way and then have it tied to something else and going the other way. So there's definitely ways that you could still use resistance bands if you don't have access to smaller weights like this. Okay. The last one she's going to do, we're actually going to move the bench out of the way. This last one, she's going to come all the way up onto her knees now, and we're going to combine that first exercise we did with the pronation supination, and we're actually going to go into a curl, a bicep curl. So we're going to actually bend the arm all the way. Now, again, if a weight is too much to tolerate right now, we don't have to use the weight. We can just use complete body weight here and do the range of motion. Okay. So we're going to try to gain that full capacity of that elbow rotation with that elbow bending and extending. So Moshgan's going to come up here, and she's going to start with her arm as extended open as possible, and then coming up into that curl. Then she's going to rotate that weight as much as possible, and then come down as much as possible. And then she's going to hold that weight. So you're really rotating as much as you can. Down, other way. There we go. And then she's going to bend into that flexion, and then open and extend as much as she can. So really all the way into that supination as much as possible. There we go. And then bend, and then rotate that weight, rotate, and then try to come all the way down. Good. Hold that full rotation, and then bend it back up. Open that weight as much as possible and extend all the way out. Very nice. So we're going really slow here and making sure that you're not experiencing pain. You might not be going as full range of motion in that pronation supination as you're doing this if it's not comfortable. So really rotating that down. Good. And then opening and opening it back up. Great. So just doing about 5 on each side is a great way to, again, start to address that rotation for that pronation supination, as well as that flexion and extension. So we're getting full range of motion around that elbow and really working all of those muscles in a controlled mobility manner. Don't forget, if you love what you're learning, I have so much more in stock for you. So hit that subscribe button, check out the other videos I've done in the past, and leave any comments of any suggestions that you have for videos in the future. And I can't wait to help you feel incredible and amazing within your body.